And good evening. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another Championship Week video notebook here at Hoops HD, uh, where we are streaming to you live a little bit after midnight and getting ready for Arizona State to break out the curtain of distraction. David, how you doing over there?
Oh, I'm distracted. This is incredible. I wrote Arizona State asking them to please cancel spring break if it overlapped the season because I didn't want to run the risk of not having the curtain of distraction.
Uh, another big service that we're doing here at Hoops HD for everybody, trying to get even more curtain of distraction. What are the chances of us getting some curtain of distraction into the NCAA tournament this year?
Well,
Forget
I
about the
mean,
team. I mean the curtain.
I mean, we're trying to do that. I will be going back to Indianapolis. I'm sure they'll be happy to see me, and that's one of the things I'm going to bring up. We need to get the fans at the tournament.
Okay, well, we are going to be working on that. What we're here to do tonight is to go through all of the conference tournament action that's taken place, as well as preview the conference tournament action for tomorrow and update our survival board, one of the most important tools for the NCAA selection committee. So
Yes.
let's jump right into it here as I go ahead and start the screen share here.
This is
And drum roll, and it should be coming right on up now.
Yeah,
There
and
it
starting
is.
off right on top here, real exciting night here in the Atlantic Sun. North Florida, they had a pretty much comfortable lead. It wasn't down to the wire, but it was. I'm sure you watched it. There's a lot of energy around this team. The fans were really excited, but the game of the night, at least in this conference, was Upstate Gulf Coast. It seesawed back and forth, ended kind of crazily with Upstate up three, Gulf Coast attempting a game-tying three, and the age-old debate is that when you're up three, Chad, should you foul or should you play defense? I don't know if you should do one. I don't know if you should do the other, but you probably shouldn't do both. That's kind of what Gulf Coast did, and what we've seen this happen a lot, where teams attempt to foul, but the other team gets a shot off knowing they're going to get fouled, and they get three free throws.
Well, this wasn't. This was. I mean, he was clearly going up for the shot when the player ran at him and
Yeah,
swiped at him. It was not. I mean, it was just a complete bonehead play by Upstate, fouling
yeah.
Bernard Thompson, going up for the game tying shot, and he got the three free throws with 1.4 seconds left. Made the first two. A very good use of a timeout after the first two shots were made, though. I thought.
Yeah,
Ice
and
the player.
right,
Uh,
and he comes out, misses it, and Upstate wins. So we're all set for, I believe it's Sunday. Is it Sunday? Yeah. North
Sunday,
Florida,
2:30. Yeah.
yeah, hosting the conference championship game. They haven't been Division One for very long. I don't know the exact year they transitioned up and got off. It is their second appearance in the conference championship game. They lost to Belmont by about 87 points or something like that a few years back. Um, but still, probably it's probably the biggest game that they played in their history since moving up to D1. Really good for them. Really exciting. It should be a fun game on Sunday. Again, I think Upstate beat them twice during the year, though.
Yeah, Upstate did sweep them during the year and really presented some matchup problems for them. So North Florida is going to have their work cut out for them, even though they're at home. We're going to have a first out of the ASUN this year, though, David. Upstate, although they've had some pretty good teams the last few years, has never made an NCAA tournament either. We will have a first-time NCAA tournament participant out of the Atlantic Sun this year. So
Yeah.
whichever team makes it, huge congratulations to them for getting there.
Yeah, I mean, it really will. And the thing about this conference is that it has a lot of teams that are sort of new to Division One. North Florida being among them. Upstate, I think it was less than 10 years ago when they started transitioning up. And of course, Gulf Coast, who hasn't been Division One for very long. And then NKU, who's a transitional team currently. So a rather young conference there. And
And here
you
we
know,
go. We've
I
already
see
moved on.
we're on to the conference. Boy, did we have some exciting games tonight. Oh, this is the Patriot League. These games actually were on. Never mind.
Yeah. We're moving on to the Patriot League next. We had the quarterfinal day today in the Patriot League. Um, we'll begin with the one blowout game of the night, which was Lafayette just really pounded Boston University.
Kind
Was
of
never really
surprising.
close. And
Yeah.
this was the 4-5 game. This is the game you would thought would have been the closest of the four, just if you knew nothing else about the teams. Really dominated them. Last night, I predicted Lehigh to not only beat American, but also to win this entire conference tournament, so I lost.
Yeah, nice win by American. They went on the road and they finally looked like the team that we thought they would be, but hadn't really been for most of the year. So they're still alive. They go to Colgate, I believe.
Yeah, they'll be going to Colgate.
Or are they
Colgate.
going up to Bucknell?
No, they do not reseed here, so they will be
Okay.
going to Colgate. And Colgate kind of led most of the way against Navy, never really fully pulled away, but were able to hold on for a 10-point win.
Yeah.
The game of the night, though, not only in the Patriot League, but probably across college basketball, was the overtime game between Bucknell and Holy Cross, I
Yeah.
would think.
It was, and again, Bucknell had a lead, and it was kind of comfortable. And that's the thing with all four of these games going on at the same time. You're kind of, flipping around, and Holy Cross came charging back, got a lead, and it looked like they were going to get the win. But Bucknell, again, getting it done in overtime, staying alive. They're going to have their hands full in the next game, I think, on Sunday.
Yeah, with Lehigh gone, though, I'm kind of leaning towards Bucknell as my pick here, but I think that, honestly, I think this is the better game, the Bucknell-Lafayette game, than Colgate-American.
Yeah.
These games will both be on Sundays, either at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Let's go ahead and pop right on over to David. Yesterday, we sent you up to Albany for the first-round game of the America East with the intention that you then stay there and broadcast live from the first round of the Metro Atlantic. Apparently, you made the newspapers, and apparently they didn't even let you into Siena's arena. Either say what happened.
Well, they said I needed to leave the county, so the whole city of and this never would have happened at Maine, never would have happened. But anyway, again, we talked about this yesterday. Fortunately, there was only one game that was worth watching, and it was one of the bigger surprises. One of the worst teams on the planet managed to beat a halfway decent Quinnipiac team tonight.
Yeah, very, very surprising. Now, Marist, the last 2-3 weeks of last month or so of the season had been playing a lot better than they did the first 2.5 months of it when they don't think they won a single game. But really surprising win that they would beat a Quinnipiac team that could have even been a sleeper contender to win this entire tournament, I think. The other games, what St. Peter's did to Fairfield, I think, was illegal.
In some states, it is. I mean, apparently having a couple drinks to enjoy yourself is illegal in Albany, but doing what Fairfield did to what St. Peter's did to Fairfield is not. So,
and this is St. Peter's team that was, red hot team right now.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, I know they're in 7th place, had a pretty weak year overall, ended the year with a win against Iona, and then just clobbered Fairfield tonight. So, interesting to see what they'll do against Ryder on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that St. Peter's pulls the upset there over Ryder. The other game, as we expected, Siena, who's the host team, pounded Niagara, and setting up the game here coming up on, it's not Friday, it's Saturday.
Yes.
Quarterfinals. Siena, home team, Iona, number 1 seed, getting screwed by the format of this tournament.
Getting screwed by the format of the tournament, and oh man, it's coming. You can sense it. Iona has a history of losing games they really have no business losing. Granted, it's not easy to win on the road, but after having such a good year and avoiding the kinds of losses that we normally see Iona get 2, 3, 4, or even 5 of throughout the year, let me ask you this, Chad. Who's going to win this game?
Siena.
Yes, okay.
No doubt.
Yeah, probably so.
2 more conferences were in action today. Let's start over first in the Ohio Valley Conference. We had what I guess we call the quarterfinal round.
Yeah.
Bit of a surprise in the early game with Morehead State taking down a UT Martin team that had one of their best seasons in recent memory this year, I would say.
Yeah, I was expecting Martin to win this. I was kind of surprised. And Morehead led the whole way rather comfortably. This has been a Morehead team that hasn't looked good at all This is one of the better games I think I've actually seen them play. They had to split out SEMO in the opening round. They're taking on Murray, which is one of the more I mean, it's not the biggest rivalry in the conference, but it's a pretty big rivalry, this Murray-Moorhead game.
Yeah, the Murray-Moorhead game tomorrow. The other game, Belmont trounced Eastern Illinois. We're getting what should be a great game tomorrow evening, Eastern Kentucky and Belmont. Both these games coming up tomorrow night, so we're previewing them as well at this point.
Yes. One of the unfortunate things that's happened is the weather in this area has been rather tumultuous. Lots of snow, lots of ice. The tournament is in Nashville. It's within driving distance for a lot of these schools. It's normally fairly well attended, especially when it gets down to the semifinal round. Tonight, Belmont playing in their home city in front of almost no fans. It would kind of be disappointing. It's always fun to watch Murray and Moorhead go at it, especially in the conference tournament in Nashville, roughly equidistant from both schools. Big rivalry. I hope some fans are able to get down there. You don't want anybody to be unsafe, but you hope to have a better atmosphere tomorrow than what we had in there tonight.
Yeah, I mean, a huge rivalry and a very even game. So hopefully we at least, if you can't make it there, be safe, watch it at home, and we should have some great games. Final action tonight was in the Missouri Valley Conference where Arch Madness kicked off as we pull that up. And we had two fairly competitive games. The first one, Southern Illinois, ending Missouri State's season.
Yeah, and this one kind of went back and forth. Southern Illinois was a team I was kind of big on coming into the year. I thought they'd finish a lot higher than ninth. They don't have a chance against Wichita. But again, Bradley and Drake going in the overtime. Coming out of a timeout with a chance to tie the game, Drake drew up a play that our own Lee Del Vecchio was less than thrilled with.
And can you describe the play for us?
I really...
it was not bothering to get a shot.
Right, yes. It was. They forgot to mention the whole get a shot off part of the play.
Yeah. So, Bradley, the 10 seed, actually a pair of upsets here, the 9 and the 10 seed advancing. These games coming up tomorrow now. Obviously, Wichita and Northern Iowa should not have any trouble in their quarterfinals. The other two games, David, Illinois State against Evansville, Indiana State against Loyola. In terms of good games, I think they'll both be very close competitive games.
Yeah, they really will be. These games taking place in the afternoon, so it'll give you something to do at work. It sure as hell beats doing work at work. Mm-hmm. You wanted to wait on this. We're going to be announcing, probably not tonight, but next week, a very exciting service for you, the fan, that we will be offering here at Hoops HD.
And something just came out of the curtain of distraction, David. I don't know. It's like some kind of bear thing with a mask that they lassoed. It was pretty good. I don't know what it was. I'm a little bit scared. I might have a nightmare about that thing tonight.
Oh, the curtain. Oh, I love it.
Let's go ahead now, and we're going to pull the screen down for a second here, and we're going to, before we move into the rest of the previews for tomorrow, we're going to bring up our survival board.
Yes. Let's see if we can get it up here. I believe. Do we see it on here?
Yes, there it is.
The survival board. Yeah.
Heading into action tonight, there was 295 teams remaining. We had
some activity outside the conference. Well, I guess you're about to get to that. So.
Yeah, we had 13 teams lose in their conference tournaments, the games we just reviewed. We had one additional team. Arkansas State has been officially eliminated in the Sun Belt.
And just getting down to the Sun Belt there. So
you
they're still on the board.
They're still on the board now, but as soon as we update it, in just a couple seconds here, we're going to see that Arkansas State, along with the 13 teams that lost in the conference tournament tonight, will all be gone. So, David, why don't we go ahead and hit that magic button right now?
Okay, let's see. And again, let's see what happens. Oh, wow. 281. Oh,
281 teams remaining. there's only two teams left that will not be eliminated via a conference tournament. One is whoever does not win the Ivy League. The other one is we do still have one more team that'll be a regular season elimination in the Big Sky. That will be taken care of on Saturday between
Okay.
Southern and Weber State.
Yeah, and there's the Ivy, so we're down to just those two in the Ivy.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, again, just everything else. None of these other tournaments really getting underway yet. There's the A-Sun. Well, no, that's on Friday. So the A-Sun there, and then just looking at the Ohio Valley. Murray State we have italicized. So if they lose, they may remain on the board tomorrow.
I do agree that yeah Murray State is going to be on the board throughout the committee process. Like we discussed in our bracket rundown podcast, we don't really think that they are going to get in, but they will definitely be on the board, and they're worth leaving on there. Because the committee is going to be looking at this, and they should definitely have Murray State on their board and should be discussing them.
Right, so we're going to leave them italicized, because if we don't, then the committee won't consider them at all.
All right. David, let's get into the rest of the action for tomorrow here. In addition to the conferences we already discussed, we're going to be back in action in the Big South Conference tomorrow. Another conference you can watch in the afternoon in addition to the Missouri Valley, 4 quarterfinal games.
Three of them are great.
Yeah, I think Charleston Southern's not going to have too much trouble with Longwood, but Radford Winthrop, High Point Gardner Webb, Coastal Carolina against Asheville.
Yeah,
flip a coin in any of those games, really.
You really could. I'm kind of curious to see, and it is the primetime game. I don't know if that has to do with bracketing or if it's just one of the. In addition to unfairly getting to host the conference tournament, you also get your games in primetime to help your fans out because it's such a large venue where this is taking place in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But yeah, you could. I mean, all of them are coin flips, and then again, there were. I mean, of the 8 teams in the quarterfinals. 7 of them could easily win. That's how much parity there is in this conference.
Which means, of course, that Longwood's going to end up winning the tournament.
Right. We've seen that happen before.
Thinking about back to the year that Liberty won this conference tournament. We're going to flip right on over to another conference that took a couple of days off, is back in play again tomorrow night. That's the Horizon League. Still the top 2 seeds, Valpo and Green Bay, not yet in action, but we'll at least find out who their semifinal opponents will be tomorrow night.
Yeah, Cleveland State. That's the thing. Like, it's not much separates 1 from 4 in this. I don't think Cleveland State's going to have too much trouble with Detroit. I don't see them getting past Valpo after that. Valpo is just playing so well. You look at everybody else, and maybe they can take them down. I don't see anyone winning at Valpo, though. I think they're the best team, and they deserve to play at home, and they are playing at home.
I agree with you. Now, Detroit did beat Valpo, be it in Detroit in the last week of the season, so I wouldn't completely overlook this Detroit team. I thought they would be a lot better this season than they were. This could be a chance for them to make a run, but Cleveland State's a tough matchup for them. Oakland, I don't think is going to have any trouble with UIC on the bottom of the bracket there. We also have a few conferences that we have not yet discussed here in our video notebooks beginning play tomorrow. Let's start over in the Colonial. These games are being played in Baltimore, where Towson would, I guess, be the closest team, and they're in action tomorrow night against Elon.
Yeah, Towson, again, we've been impressed with what they've done as a program over the years. They really having a down year this year, albeit nothing like the down year they had the year they won the Centenary. College of Charleston, wow, just get them out of their misery.
Well, honestly, that both of those teams, College of Charleston and Drexel both need their misery ended this season.
Yes. I mean, it's just unfortunate that only one of them can lose.
Who do you see as the winner of this tournament?
I'm going to stick with my guns and go with Bill and Mary. That's who I had in the preseason. That's who I've liked throughout the year, even though they've kind of blown it. The other team that's really playing well, at least like when I've caught them, is UNC Wilmington down here. And then, of course, Northeastern has some notable wins, but they haven't always brought it. It's more of a sentimental pick than anything else. I just really, really want William and Mary to finally do it. I mean, everybody has a bad century. It's time for William and Mary to come out of the funk and get into the NCAA.
I'm with you that I want William and Mary to finally get that first NCAA tournament bid, but I think UNC Wilmington is the team that ends up winning this, and the team that I think you got to keep an eye on here is this Delaware team. This team
Really?
started out god awful most of the season. Has been last month or so they've been playing a lot better. They could be a surprise team that has a chance to make a run, especially with how much parity there really was in this conference as well.
Yeah.
Uh, Next up, let's head over to the Southern Conference, where we do have a team involved in the conference, not going to be playing tomorrow, but that might be another serious at-large bid contender, and that's this Wofford team, the number 1 seed.
Yeah, they get the winner of Greensboro Samford. Oh, wow, I'm actually amazed Samford did not finish last. There's a team worse than they are. How about the Citadel getting all the way up to number 7?
Well, on the strength of a huge home win over Wofford, which may be the win that damns Wofford into the NIT should they not win this tournament. And Wofford, yeah, they're going to get past that first round game, but Western Carolina or East Tennessee State's a scary semifinal matchup for them, let alone the championship game.
Yeah, that really is scary. So again, they're going to have to. I don't see them having any trouble in the quarters, but that semifinal game is not going to be easy for them.
Do you think Wofford wins this tournament?
I do. East Tennessee State's had a pretty good year. Chattanooga has given them some trouble. They've actually managed to beat Wofford at Wofford. I really like this Wofford team. I think they're the best team in the conference. I think they're the most deserving. And more importantly, I think they're a team that actually could beat a 5-seed caliber team in the NCAA tournament. Not saying that they would, but they're good enough to where it's not crazy to think that they could get out of the first round of 64.
David, I'm going to call for the upset here. I think Chattanooga beats the Terriers in the final. I'm going to go with the Mocs to win this tournament, and I think we're going to have a real interesting debate about Wofford next week if that does happen, who I like even better than Murray State for an at-large bid at the moment.
I do too. I don't know what the real committee thinks, but they need to look at this Wofford team.
Over in one other conference that kicks off tomorrow night, so a couple of late games here. The West Coast Conference, San Francisco taking on Pacific, Santa Clara taking on Loyola Marymount for the rights to go up against and lose to Gonzaga and BYU.
Yeah. Gonzaga, certainly the favorites to win the conference. I think they're toast as far as a 1 seed goes, but I don't see them doing any worse than a 2 regardless of what happens.
Yeah, the most interesting thing in this tournament, because I think Gonzaga is going to not have much trouble winning this conference tournament, even if they get BYU again in the finals, is can BYU make it to the finals? And even more importantly, I think BYU not only has to make the finals, but has to beat St. Mary's in the semifinals, give themselves one more top 100 win to make a solid at-large bid case.
Yeah, potentially.
One other game of note tomorrow night, David, while it's not going to determine an automatic bid in terms of clinching it, it will in all likelihood determine the automatic bid is Yale is going to be at Harvard, the 2 teams tied for first place in the Ivy League. If whoever wins this game goes ahead and wins their game against one of the also rans in the Ivy League on Saturday, the automatic bid will be clinched. What do you think about this game tomorrow night?
Well, the first one was miserable. It was just bad basketball. Lee would have loved it especially in the first half. And you kind of wonder where that was coming from because we had seen both the teams play really well. I mean, what's not to love about this? I really think the Ivy loses something by not having a tournament, which might be funny to hear coming from me because I always say that I hate to see the most deserving team blow it because of a tournament, but I think they lose something in November and December because there isn't a huge incentive to play your way inside the bubble. But having said that, you don't get a regular season game like this in any other conference to where neither team's inside the bubble. It's a rivalry game. One team's going and one isn't. It's going to be tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, we do still have an outside shot at a one-game playoff here, but that would involve whoever wins this game going out and blowing it the following night, coming up on Saturday night when Yale is going to be at Dartmouth and Harvard's going to be hosting Brown, and I don't think either team should have much trouble with those games. So really this is going to be your Ivy League championship game tomorrow night for all intents and purposes. And
Is this on television?
It will be a televised. I believe that this is a American Sports Network game of the night, so you got to check your local listings. But
Local listings, but it will be streamed.
yeah,
If it's not on.
it is streamed through the American Sports Network website as well if you don't have it on your local listings. So definitely tune in for this one here. You mentioned the potential Ivy League tournament. I know the Ivy League discusses probably about every 5 years or so. They bring up the idea of doing a tournament again, and every year seems to get knocked down. I'd love to see them at least do a 14 tournament, even if you're not going to do all 8 teams. But
Yeah, and I know they don't do a tournament for any of their sports. It's just not their thing. At least they participate in the men's basketball championship. They don't for football. I really, really think they're missing out because they do have some good football teams in the Ivy League that don't partake in the playoff. It makes no sense. Their thinking is they think winning the Ivy should be the championship. It shouldn't be a mere gateway to another championship. But yeah, they don't have a tournament. I don't think they ever will institute one.
well, on that note, then that covers everything for the night. Be certain to check in on the website, read all our highlights, our games previews, and everything else that's coming up tomorrow. And we will talk to you again real soon.